In today's episode, the Polski Fiat 125p range and price guide. Hello and welcome to Course Like Your Car Brochure channel, looking at car brochures from around the world. Today, obviously no exception at all, we're looking at this lovely Polski Fiat 125p range. There's even a price list in there. I always like the brochures when they've still got the original price list in there. What does it say on it? Effective October 1980. So let's have a look at these October 1980 brochures. So yeah, both the main brochure and the price list are both dated on the October 1980. So obviously this little price list has been tucked away in this brochure since 1980, which is rather nice, isn't it? Nice front cover on here, the Polski Fiat 125p range. Little bit of an image, and then we open the brochure out and it comes to a full picture, which is very nice. Quality of the picture is low, and you could argue that the car itself is quite low quality, but then it was all about price at the time. These sorts of like price leading or budget motor cars here, and this is in the UK. And one thing I do miss about this sort of time is modern cars. There isn't really, I mean, you can obviously get cheaper cars, but you can't get these really budget friendly cars anymore because of all the safety equipment that they have to throw on them these days. All that safety equipment that as soon as you get in the car, you're turning them off, lane keep assist, etc, which particularly around here in Canada does not work because there's very rarely even any lines on the road. So all that horrendous safety equipment that we're forced to buy means these bargain basement cars aren't there anymore, and I certainly wish they still will. Anyway, I don't want to waffle too much. Let's open the brochure up. So when I flip this brochure out, we can see the technical specifications. We'll leave that to the end of the show because that really is the last page, but I wanted to show you how it folds out to make this rather nice large image of this budget motor car. Clearly showing we've got these big antiquated leaf springs on there and some nice little images. I mean, there's no arguing that this wouldn't exactly been a dream to drive, but there is something about them. I always thought that for me, if I was going for the budget end of the motor cars, I think I would have gone to Skoda, but nevertheless, interesting cars all the same. Let's have a look at the text. At the top here it says Polski Fiat 125p Saloon, the best friend a family could want. Reliable, full of practical comforts and true value for money. So it starts looking at the Saloon. When we flipped the brochure the way around, it's got the estate there, so don't worry, estate and wagon fans, we've got something for you there as well. It's a little bit wordy, but let's go ahead and read what it's got to say about itself, and then we'll come back to these images. It starts by saying the designers of the Polski Fiat 125p are practical engineers. Their inspiration came not from any way out James Bond style fantasies or design for design's sake, but from the researched and well known needs of families like yours. First need, a solidly built, well engineered car that will prove a true family friend, giving trouble-free, reliable service at all times and in all conditions. Some measure of success in achieving this aim can be found in the Polski Fiat Extended Guarantee. In addition to the normal 12 months comprehensive guarantee, there's also 24 months unlimited mileage cover on specified mechanical components, including the most vital ones. Doesn't seem that much today, but certainly it was a bit more than the average car was given. But when you've got these budget cars, you really have to have that because obviously people are going to be quite wary of it. It goes on to tell us comfort is a quality often associated by car manufacturers with luxury-loving jet-set people. But our designers, being practical idealists, knew that no one needs comfort more than the family, especially when it includes grandparents or other older relatives, as well as young children. So beneath its solid chased exterior, you'll find the 125p is a haven of comforts. Deeply upholstered seating, front seats fully adjustable, reclining and fitted with headrests, wall-to-wall carpeting, floor-through ventilation and 2-speed heater. There's easily access for everyone through 4 extra wide doors, each with its own armrest and generous storage space for books, games and other travelling companions. That's in addition to a huge 13 cubic foot boot. The Polski Fiat looks a very safe car, and it is. From the laminated windscreen and padded sun visor to the servo assisted dual hydraulic braking circuits with disc brakes on all 4 wheels, and on all 4 doors there's a door open red reflector to warn following traffic after dark. The driver gets more than a comfortable seat and a steering wheel too. Electrical controls are handily placed on steering column stalks, whilst the fascia features trip recorder, cigarette, cigar lighter and a more than average range of warning lights, including reminder for handbrake, low fuel level, oil pressure, choke and high beam. Wipers are 2-speed with electric washer and adjustable intermittent wipe facility. The gear change is smooth and responsive with synchromesh on all 4 forward gears. I do apologise. The engine is a 1481cc power unit designed to produce maximum power at comparatively low revs for a prolonged active life, with suspension that takes the rough with the smooth and holds the road impressively. The Polski Fiat 125p is more fun to drive than it might look at first sight, but essentially it's for the driver who values the important things: a car's unfailing reliability, a long service to the family, the comfort and pleasure it provides economically. So I do like how this brochure is set out really. It's really no nonsense, isn't it? You know, obviously car brochures usually go to town saying what an amazing motor car it is. This is more or less just saying it's a reliable, no nonsense motor car. I don't think, unlike how it describes it though, I don't think it was a particularly long life vehicle for the UK. I think they rotted out in no time and they soon all disappeared, but no doubt some pretty tough mechanicals. Very simple, isn't it? I mean, the design is harking back from a long time before the 1980s, and it's obvious. I mean, 1980s came about, we were starting to think about more curvier, more aerodynamic designs, of course, and this is like a brick on wheels. Nice little wheel trims on there. Certainly, there's no doubt about it, it seems like it's from another era, because essentially it is. Let's have a look at some more of the images. Actually, let's just peek through the window of this cottage. I guess a glimpse of what the average Polski Fiat 125p owner looks like. I don't know about that. I certainly think it appeals to sort of like retirement age people, a bit like what Skoda did actually. A glimpse on the interior, again harking back from a completely different era. Presumably there are black vinyl seats, which would be horrendous if the sun came out even on the average day. Gear lever is certainly a very spindly, straight up design. Never drove one of these. It looks heavy to drive is what I'm thinking just from the images. And a look from the front. I guess this is the guy who was sneaking a peek looking through his cottages. There he is talking to, presumably, I don't know who that is. It's a different person who we peeked at in the picture. Maybe his elderly mother's car. Oh no, that's the passenger side. I must admit, I do get confused sometimes. Used to live in UK, now live in Canada. Of course, the steering wheel's on the opposite side, so maybe he's just helping his mother get into that passenger seat before they happily trundle off to the seaside. Nice big chrome bumpers on there. Overall, I quite like the front end with those sort of quad headlamps on there. It's certainly from a different era, and it's certainly never seen a wind tunnel by the looks of it, but it does look robust. And then a look at a different angle of that dashboard. Very squared off dash, isn't it? Looks very basic, but really when you look at the description, that's quite high spec for a 70s car actually, so I guess not too bad. The speedometer looks like one of them strip speedometers, so that's a little bit different. And then on the steering wheel we've got the badge of FSO, although the brochure isn't really promoting FSO and it's not really mentioned anywhere in the brochure. I think that came a little bit later. Maybe putting the word Fiat on there made people understand what the branding was more. So when I flip that brochure around to show the completely opposite side, we do get that estate car as promised. I think I'll start up here, read this a bit of a text. I guess there's some features nicely laid out which we'll go through, and then we'll glance at some of these images, and then we'll move to the last page and look at the specs. So the Polski Fiat 125p estate. Start by saying the Polski Fiat 125p Saloon is such a desired family car, it is inevitable that there should be demand for an estate version of it. There will always be those who prefer the extra load space of an estate car and the easy access through the extra door. In the same way, there will always be those who prefer the style and separate the boot of a saloon. Our job is to provide cars, not arguments one way or the other. Very strange thing to put in a brochure. So in response to the needs of estate car enthusiasts, meet the Polski Fiat 125p with fold down rear seats and tailgate that swings up and wide open. Ideal for the big family shopping, the children's bikes, the occasional furniture purchase, camping gear, sports equipment, or what you will. You'll notice that the rear window also has its own wash wipe system. In all other respects, it is just the same as the 125p. Same reliability, same comfort, same safety features and amenities, same great value for money. Why change a winning team? We then look at the fuel cap and notice it is lockable. And then if I move down, I look at the seats, and I guess it's showing we've got some kind of adjustment and reclining system on there. And then kind of list the features. So other features: fully adjustable and reclining front seats, headrests. Now I know in other countries headrests came a long time ago, but here in 1980 it was quite nice to see headrests on these very budget friendly cars, because if you look at the Ford and Vauxhall ranges, a lot of their lower end models didn't come with headrests, which of course is a big safety feature. So nice that they threw them on these budget cars, and I'm sure when you open the car in the showroom you would have noticed that straight away. Other features: 2-stage full body protective treatment. I'm pretty sure they had rust issues though. Floor through ventilation, heater with 2-speed fan, wall to wall carpets, 2-speed wiper with adjustable intermittent wipe, a laminated windscreen, padded sun visors, lockable petrol cap, reversing light, door open, red warning reflector in all 4 doors, electric windscreen washers, cigarette lighter, trip recorder, heated rear window, remote control boot opening, saloon only, boot light, rubber bumper inserts, glove box, mat pockets, centre console tray, armrest and rear fog lamp. So really, for a budget car, not badly equipped, and I'm sure it puts some of the lower end Fords and Vauxhalls to shame with the equipment that was being offered for the price. And then the estate car itself, let's just move in and try and clear that picture up a bit. Very simple but functional design overall. Still got those nice chrome bumpers. Looks like the reversing light is an odd place underneath the bumper there. Typical estate car picture. We can like throwing boxes of things in boxes and bags that just say interiors. Okay. Nice thing though, again, with being a budget car, we do have a rear wash wipe. Again, lots of Ford and Vauxhall estates at the time missed the rear wash wipe on their base models, and of course Austin Rover as well. Not the best picture, is it? But a nice look down the side there. I think if I was buying one of these, I think I would have looked at the price list and kind of like worked out how much extra the estate was, because I think that is really the car to go for. A bit like the Larders, I think I would have gone for the estate for that extra sort of practicality from a very basic car, and probably one of the cheapest ways to get into an estate car. And yes, we will look at that all-important price list in a moment to see how much extra those estates were. First, let's have a look at the technical specifications. So engine-wise, it came with a water-cooled 4-stroke, 4-cylinder inline OHV engine. 1481cc is what you got. 75 bhp DIN or 85 bhp SAE. Plus 5% at 5,400 RPM. Twin choke carb made under Weber license. Mechanical fuel pump. And fuel capacity 9.9 gallons for the Saloon and the estate. And the transmission was a 4-speed synchromesh on all forward gears and a floor change. Still perfectly acceptable at this time, although I know a lot of companies were moving more onto 5-speed gearboxes, but there was still plenty of 4-speed boxes around. I would imagine it wouldn't have been not the nicest car to drive, so it's not going to be the smoothest gear change, but it is what it is. Moving down to the steering, it's worm and roller type, collapsible column. Brakes, dual circuit braking system, servo assisted, load apportioning valve, discs front and rear. Disc brakes front and rear, that's quite surprising, isn't it? That's a nice touch, I wasn't expecting that. Bi-wishbones, we're onto suspension now, so bi-wishbones incorporating coil springs, anti-roll bar and telescopic double action. Shock absorbers, and for the rear live axle, them semi-elliptic leaf springs which we noticed, radius rods and telescopic double action. Shock. It goes on to tell us, the lengths and weights, etc. A bit hard to go through on camera, so let's move down. So lots of usual important, so it calls a brochure talk, but what I wanted to notice here was the date there. So date of going to press is October 1980. Image wise, there is a look at our 1481cc engine. Quite like these older cars for the fact lots of room to work around that, no big plastic pieces to rip off before you can even see the engine, so that's always nice to see. A beautiful little image there of both the Saloon and estate, I quite like that for sure. At the bottom here it's telling us it is designed by Kent and Sendall Design Associates Limited, printed POS Promotions Limited, and then we have a bit of an address here as well, so Polski Fiat Automotive Distributors Limited, Longfield Road, Tunbridge Wells in Kent. And then if it was stamped, this is where your Polski Fiat dealer stamp would appear. So I've not forgotten the all important price list again for October 1980. Let's open that one up. So it opens up and it's quite good quality. It's like a really thick page quality actually, which is unusual, particularly when we look at the North American brochures and how flimsy and terrible they are. Even the price list is really good quality paper, which is a bit unusual, and it's nice little open up design rather than just a little sheet in there. So that was a bit surprising. It says on the recommended UK retail prices, so let's move in a bit further. So it didn't really talk about these models too much. We've got the Polski Fiat 125p Saloon, £2,575 on the road. Oh, actually no, delivery and number plates are extra, but roughly £2,575. Not a bad price for a car in the early 80s. We can go up a model. It didn't mention it too much, but you can go up to a GLS version. Ooh, the fancy one. Polski Fiat 125p Saloon GLS. A little bit more expensive at £2,736.56. Not sure I would have gone for the GLS. It's all about saving money. That little Polski Fiat 125p Estate, which is probably the model I would have wanted actually, it's certainly a little bit more expensive, £2,899, but not a bad price for an estate car. Cheapest model of them all is the Polski Fiat 125p pickup. You did see a few of them trundling around actually, and I'm not surprised at £2,500. What a great, if starting a little business as a landscape gardener, a one-man operation cutting lawns, that would have been a great little buy at £2,500 actually. And that is actually all that's on the brochure, apart from that distributor's address at the end there. So the question is, would you have bought a brand new one out of the showroom? I would probably advise against it really. The beautiful little Polski Fiat 125p, always nice to have a new car, isn't it? It's that new car feeling. Unfortunately, as soon as you took it out of the showroom, it was probably worth about 125p. The prices went off a cliff when you bought them, but a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, maybe a 5-year-old one was probably where the value was in these. You could pick them up for a couple $100, a couple £100 I should say. And in fact, I saw the pickup version go through an auction once when I was kind of like keen on looking at auctions and prices. I think it struggled to reach £50. It might have sold for £40, and it drove off with a big puff of smoke out the back. But I think that was where the value was in the end of life of these cars, because actually were a pretty robust car. Any of them left in the UK, or were they like larders and got shipped off to other countries? I don't know. You tell me. But thank you so much for watching today. I'll end, as I always do, by saying, if you've not already done so, please do consider subscribing. It's completely free, keeps you in touch with the channel. Certainly if you've looked at this channel for a while, you've not subscribed, please do so. Subscribers, they're not going down, but they're hardly going up at all anymore for whatever reason. So just double check if you are already subscribed. It doesn't really mean much, and it doesn't give me any money if you subscribe or not, but I think it's kind of like a boost if you can see your numbers going up. So just check if you are subscribed, and if you've not done already, please do. It is completely free. But thank you so much for watching today. I'll throw a couple more boxes up for other episodes. There is, I think, over 600 now, isn't there? A lot of episodes out there. Some of the early ones you really have to search through. I know it's hard to get to the very early ones, but yeah, have a look back there. And thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. All the best, and we'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.